Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Mr. Eckler's math class. This is lesson number 2 of measuring angles and solving for missing values. So let's jump right in, shall we? Whee! Hey, there I go. Okay, to begin with, let us review, shall we? We learned in our last episode that to figure out the value of an unknown angle, you just need to subtract the known value from the total angle of the base. Now, the base in this shape, obviously, is ABC. And the known value, well, how do I know what ABD is? Well, I know it is a 90-degree angle because this tells me it's 90 degrees. And when I subtract 90 from 180, that tells me that DBC is also 90 degrees. Coincidence? No, it's not. It's math. So if I know that the ABC, it measures 90 degrees, and I know that A, B, and D measures a cool 74 degrees, if I subtract, I get 16 degrees, because 90 take away 74 is 16. What if I don't know what it is? Well, if this is a shape that is non-uniform, then I need to look somewhere in the equation to tell me what that measures, the base. And this angle measures a total of 127 degrees. And ABD, in this case, measures 42 degrees. So DBC, how do I figure that out? Simple. We subtract 127 and 42, and we get 85, because math. Okay, so again, if it's not known, ABC equals 42 degrees. ABD is 17 degrees. 42 minus 17, 25. Okay, what if I told you there were 3 angles instead of 2? Uh-oh. It's about to get a little more challenging. Actually, it's not. No, maybe it is. So I've got ABC and D and E. What information would I need to solve this? Well, obviously, I'm going to need to know the value of the base, ABC, because I need to know what to subtract, but I also need something to subtract, and I don't know what these angles are. Now, by the look of it, it looks like ABD and EBC are the same angle. So it might be nice if I knew one of these values. What if I told you that DBE equaled 46 degrees? Can I solve it now? How? It's a trick question, right? I just got to subtract from the base. Yeah? So if ABC is 180 degrees, and I subtract 46, I get an answer of 134 degrees. And I know that I can add this back together. And so DBA is 134 degrees, and EBC is 134 degrees. And when I add those two numbers back together, I am going to get a cool 180, 268. Oh, wait, that's an obtuse number, and these are acute angles. Anyway, all right. Go away. Let's rethink this. 180. Oh, 2 angles. 1 angle, 2 angle. They are the same. So this number represents the value of both of these angles combined. So what do I need to do? I need to divide. I need to divide 134 divided by 2. Hey, that's a fraction. It's a division problem in disguise. I told you, man. Those fractions, they're tricky. And if I divide 134, I get 67. So ABD is 67, or DBA, and EBC is also 67 degrees. And if I add all this up, 7 and 6 is 13, and 7 is 18. It's 180 degrees. So what if we do another one? Okay. What is my base here? Well, my base is ABC. And what does ABC measure? You guessed it, 90 degrees. And I know this because 90. What else do I need to know? Well, I need a given here. I need DBE. DBE equals 18 degrees. So I subtract 18 from 90, just like we did before. That's going to give me 72 degrees. and then I divide 72 by 2, just like I did before, and it gives me 36 degrees, and it really is that easy. All we're doing is adding a second step when we add in a third angle, and all we're doing is dividing the result of our subtraction by 2 to spread it evenly amongst the two sides of the angle. And again, when we add it together, we get 90 degrees. Very buggy. This is a tough one now. Or is it? So, it tells me here that ABC is 157 degrees because this is a non-standard angle. I know that DBE is 9, so I subtract 9. I get 148. Divide 148 by 2. I get 74 degrees. And I do the math. I add it back together to check and make sure that my answers are correct. And yes, ABC equals 157 degrees. And it is just this easy. It is simply adding one additional step of cutting in half the result of our subtraction to distribute it evenly on both sides of the center angle. Okay? A note, a couple of safety checks for you. Okay? Things that you can do as you're working these types of equations to make sure that you're not making silly mistakes and to check your work along the way. First thing I'd like to warn you, or rather have you take note of, is the subtraction. The subtraction part of our equation should always be even. Why? Because I'm dividing by 2. 2 angles dividing by 2. This should be even. Why? Because the result should be even. I should not have a remainder. So when you look at your subtraction, make sure that this is an even number. Now I will say, if by chance it doesn't work out and this is an odd number, well, check your math. Make sure that you're right, and then check it a third time and make sure that you're right. And then, well, you have a remainder of 1. How do I divide 1 amongst 2 things? I cut it in half. Okay, so let's pretend for a moment that we make a silly mistake. Yes. In fact, when I divide 148 by 2, I get 76. Because 8 minus 2 is 6, and 14 divided by 2 is 7. Silly, I know. I've seen sillier. I'm just saying. Well, I'm certain that this is correct, and so I'm going to add my work together. And unfortunately, I don't have a little highlighter that shows up on my paper that says I've made a silly mistake. So I'm going to add my work together. 76 and 76, well, I know that that's 148 because I just divided 148 by 2, and it's 76, okay? And that's 148. I'm not even going to bother to do the math because I know that part's right. Oh, wait, but I don't remember what happens when I add 9. So I actually have to add the 9, and that's, well, 17 carry the 1. It's 157, right? Okay. No. Because we don't tend to add what we've just divided or reassemble what we just divided, we reinforce that silly mistake, and we're not catching that error. So what I would recommend when you go to check your work here is rearrange your numbers. Bring your first degree back in at 76, and then add your 9, add your given. This is going to force us to go outside and actually do the math. And when I do this, well, I get 85, and now I'm going to add in the second 76, and that's going to give 163. That doesn't match 157. Something is wrong. So you can see, by adding in the given angle first, and then adding in the second angle second, you're able to catch a silly mistake because you are forcing yourself to do the actual math rather than just making an assumption that I know 76 plus 76 is 148, which it isn't because silly mistake. Okay, that's all we got tonight. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you soon with more math.